When I was in 5th grade, I really liked climbing. Lots of 5th graders do. But my parents handled it a little differently than most. They enrolled me in circus camp. This is the very first trick I learned. I've known for a while that the circus today is very different from what it used to look like. It used to focus on showing off animals or people who were considered abnormal, but today it's evolved to focusing on showing off performers' skills while telling a story or expressing emotions about real-world events in a way that's similar to a play. It's transformed from an entertainment to an art. For example, these are two posters 100 years apart. This is from 1920 from Barnum and Bailey, which was the most popular traveling circus at the time. As you can see, it mostly shows off clowns and some animals at the top. Meanwhile, this is from 2020. It's from the teen ensemble of the Actors Gymnasium, our local circus. They were doing a play that showcased how the teens were feeling about isolation due to COVID-19. But one thing I didn't know about circuses until recently was the role that it played in suffrage and what this can teach us about participation in activism. According to Time magazine, in 1912, around the same time as a massive women's rights suffrage rally, the Barnum and Bailey Circus Women's Equal Rights Society was founded. It was composed of women in the circus who came together to fight for women's rights. They attended protests, educated others, and met with suffragists around the United States. This might sound weird. Why would a group of people in a career that had nothing to do with suffrage spend their free time working on activism together? And why were they helpful to a movement that already had plenty of women who were stay-at-home wives with much more time to devote to activism than they did? Let's take a closer look. While they weren't able to devote as much time to the cause as other suffragists, circus women brought in some unique advantages. According to articles from Gonzaga University and PBS, there were 3 main reasons. First, circus women traveled far more often and longer distances than most women at the time, and this allowed them to receive and spread new ideas with far greater ease, which was especially helpful in a time before cell phones or the internet. Second, circuses were very progressive environments. In fact, circus women were among the earliest groups of women to achieve equal wage. As a group that was far closer to being treated equally, they had a very different and far more modern perspective on feminism than most groups of women at the time. Also, their identities made them uniquely valuable. For example, this is Katie Sanduina, a strong woman from the circus. That's her holding her husband and 2 sons on her arms. And it didn't stop there. She could also lift pianos. At the time, it seemed impossible for women to be both strong and feminine, but circus women fought that stereotype and made it harder to argue that they were too weak to vote. Even later on, circus performers still brought unique perspectives to activism. For example, this is Josephine Robinson, who was a retired horseback rider turned suffragist, and she later worked to promote the importance of women's physical fitness, which would help the country in World War I. What I've learned, and what I hope you will also take away from this event in history, is that activism can come from anywhere and anyone. There's often a stereotype of activists being people who make it their full-time jobs, but these performers did all their activism work while maintaining a career and traveling the country. Thus, it's essential to recognize that anyone can be an activist, and you never know when someone unexpected might bring something extraordinary to the table. Thank you.